Welcome all once again to Learn Sterling OMS YouTube channel. Today in part 3 I'll be speaking more about how to create an order once again, and how the order flow is, better understanding the order flow, and how the inventory supply and demand varies once you create an order, what are the status it moves, and from better understanding from the database perspective, and little more about pipeline. So let's begin with, in the part 2 we've seen how to create an order, but this video I'll create the same kind of order once again, and I'll take it further to the end of the order pipeline. So to begin with, let's get into create order screen. Let's provide some minimal information what is required, create an order. So I hope my test item is test item from last video, so I'll select the test item, and the ship node is store 1, so I'll be selecting the store 1, and I'll give quantity as 10. So I'll save order, which is in a draft order status. I hope nothing would happen by this time unless other than creating an order number. So now our understanding is here, once the order moves from status to status, what will happen from the database side, and how to understand from the pipeline side. So here we are going in 3 parallel modes. So let's get into database now to see what is happening in this particular order. So I'll be firing a query on select star from YFS order header and order by create timestamp descending. So my latest order is this is my order now, so which has an order header key as this. If you get into YFS order header table, you'll have lot of information about this particular order, so please go ahead and visit in your local machine. So now we know that our order number is this, which is same here in console as well. So my point of interest here is what is going to happen with this particular item and its inventory. So to see that, what we want is inventory item key of this particular item. So let's get into select star from YFS inventory what's YFS inventory item, where item ID equals test item. So my interest here is to see what is the inventory item key for this particular item. So I'll be copy this. So now we will understand what is the supply and demand going to happen. So to understand that, get into select star from YFS inventory supply, select star from YFS inventory supply. Why it's not popping up? Inventory, let's write a query, inventory where inventory item key equals my inventory item key. So here it says for this particular inventory item key, which is for test item, this inventory is available in ship node store 1 with a quantity as 40 and supply type as on hand. So what it means is store 1 has on hand quantity of 40 for the particular inventory item key of this, which is basically test item. Okay, so now let's get into more detail. So now I want to see what is the demand available for this demand. So I'll be firing a query on YFS inventory demand table with the same inventory item key. So where I say there is no quantity demand is 0, there is no demand available. So now let's get in more to confirm an order and see what is going to happen. So now my order is in a draft order status. I'm going to confirm this, so which is the same thing what we are doing from the last video. So my order is in created status now. So I'll go ahead and see what is the demand now. Okay, there is a change here. For the particular inventory item key, there is an open order demand has been created with a status quantity as 10 for the ship node store 1. Okay, so now what it means is, look at here, line quantity says 10 and ship node says store 1 for the particular item, test item. So for a create order, when the order is in created status, there will be a demand type of open order for the particular ship node for a particular item and a given line quantity. Okay, so now our task is to move ahead and see what is the supply is going to happen. If you check here, I don't think the supply would vary, so supply is still 40, but demand, open order demand has been created for a quantity of 10. So let's understand and see what the supply would do, how the order would deal with, and how the supply would deal with throughout the order life cycle. So to see what is the next status of an order, let's get into something called pipeline. So go to process modeling, order fulfillment, and we have to see which pipeline our order would flow. So for that, there is something called pipeline determination and a hub rule. So now here are a couple of conditions here. Is service or delivery, is our order is service or delivery? No, it is not, so it will come into false. Is a bundle parent, is our item is a bundle item or anything? No, I don't think it will go here, so which will come in again false, and says sales order fulfillment. So we are following this pipeline for this particular order. So when we started our order, it was in a draft order status, and then it moves to create draft order status to draft order status. When I say confirm this draft order, it moves to created status. So now our order should move from created status to scheduled status. So ideally what we have to do is to call a schedule order transaction or API to get our order to the scheduled status. So now in the console we have an option to schedule an order. So I'll go and click there and I'll schedule an order here. So my order now will move to schedule status, yeah, as expected. So now what is happening with demand? Let's go and fire a query on demand. So it's little interesting here. So look, when I order was in created status, it was open order demand with quantity as 10. When my order is moved to scheduled status, the demand type is moved to 10, demand type is scheduled, and it quantity has shifted from open order to scheduled order. So for my order there is a demand in a scheduled status now, demand type as scheduled for a quantity of 10. Okay, so and you want to see supply here, look at supply is still saying 40, so we are not changing supply until at least till now in scheduled status. So what is the next status? So what is the next status of an order? So we are in scheduled status now, so this is scheduled, it's moving here, scheduled and you can see there are multiple lines moving from scheduled status to different conditions or different transaction, but our interest is here scheduled. So there is a listener here, that is, it becomes like this. Okay, so now it says release. From scheduled, the order is moving to release status. So there is an option in the console again to release an order, so I'm going to go ahead and release it. So my order is in released status now. So what is happening with supply and demand? Let's go back to database. Let's check the supply. So supply is still 40. Demand, okay, demand is moved to allocated with quantity as 10. So now for the every order status changes from say created to scheduled to released, the demand type is moving as it is from open order to scheduled to now allocated. So when the order is moved to the released status, my demand type is saying allocated with quantity of 10 with no change in supply type. Supply is still saying 40. So now the interesting question is when my supply is going to decrease, when my supply is going to change, as in which status of an order my supply is going to change. So to know that, let's go ahead and use let's go ahead and find for sales order. So get into distributed order management. There's something called document specific for a sales order, which get into fulfillment. There's something called status inventory type. So what this status inventory type says, so this is basically a out of the box version 9.4 Sterling configuration where without any customization. So what here it is saying is, for a particular order, for a particular sales order, for what kind of status of an order, what should I do is a question here. So this table says that. So when I say if you look at here, there's one check mark. I'll be more interested here. So what this says is your order, when your order moves to a status called shipped, then update the seller supply. So until and unless your order move to ship, your supply is not going to update from your demand. So we have released here, which is not updating the seller supply. It's just because of this. So if your business says, look, we want our supply to be deducted for a particular demand when order is in released status, then go ahead and check this. Go to right click and say details and update seller supply. Just update this. But in out of the box screen, what it's saying is when the order is going to move to shipped status, it is going to update the seller supply. So to move order into a shipped status, how we are going to do? Now my order is in released status, right? So let's get into pipeline again. This is my pipeline, sorry. So we are in released status. Now what we have to do is to create a shipment and then get into a shipped status. This is my interest. So here, if order is released, let's call consolidated shipment or included in shipment. There is a multiple lines going here. Then shipment consolidation required. Out of the box we don't say that. Then get into this pipeline where it says WMS falls released. So then it will come here included in shipment. From included in shipment, it will go to shipped status. To do this, let's get into console again. Click on the released key on the released line. There is an option here to create a shipment. So let's create a shipment. Now the shipment is created with the shipment number is this, and a lot of information here. Just browse through about the shipment status, shipment options, everything. And then my point of interest here is to confirm a shipment. So I'll be confirming my shipment. Now it says shipment is shipped. Okay, I'll be closing this, I'll be closing this, I'll be closing this. Now my order moved to shipped status. So from earlier what we seen is when the order is moved to shipped status, it has to decrease the supply, right? So let's go ahead and see the demand first. What happened in demand? Look, my demand is gone to 0 in all the demand types, not in order, not in scheduled, not in allocated. This says there is no more demand available for this particular order. But let's go ahead and see the supply. Supply has come down to 30 for this particular store. So that says for this particular order, 10 quantity of test item has been shipped from store 1. So we are going to deduct the supply whatever we have in on hand from whatever we have in on hand to deduct by 10. So we are going to deduct from 40 to 10, which is 30. So this is all about how do you configure a pipeline, or how do you configure a pipeline, how do you understand the order flow, and how do you see the supply and demand consolidation or supply and demand calculation for a particular order and status type. So I hope this explains you about understanding whatever I explained now. I mean, understanding order flow, understanding inventory changes, and understanding the pipeline, everything. So we'll be seeing more and more about selling OMS in future videos. Thanks for watching this, and please do go ahead and subscribe the channels to get more notification on the latest post that I'm going to post in this particular channel. Thanks a lot.